Welcome to the Pimp My Setup highlights for episode number 166. The first setup was submitted by Liam. Wall mounting and trying to get them aligned and making them look slick like that is not easy. Now everything else is pretty good in terms of what he's working with until we get to the underside of the desk, where I think although it's nicely cable managed and things look good, the placement of the PC is going to be sort of an issue. Yes, you have a side panel. Yes, you have LEDs. Yes, you want to show it off. I get that. But I think when you're sitting there and it's all said and done, it's really in the way of your feet, and that becomes a problem with usability. I would definitely just rotate it, put it into the corner. You're still going to be able to see it, and plus, how many times are you looking down? You're like, what's up, baby? I think personality is another thing. We see like two things on the wall, one on the left, one on the right. Can't really tell what it is based on the photo, but you know, you got to get a little bit more pop. Liam scored a 74. The next setup was submitted by Shekar. This is definitely a simple setup. The further back photo makes it look a little bit more like he's got some stuff going on, but yet it's still well kept, maintained, looks good. If we're talking wow factor, the only wow I'm getting is, wow, that floor, man. Like, oh god. And it's lacking a bit of, I mean, the color from the bird photo is cool, like, you know, a little bit of here, a little bit there, but it is very like, it just kind of looks like the life was sucked out of it. Shekar scored an 88. The next setup was submitted by Steven. Just breaking it down category by category. The usability is great. The overall wire management is pretty good. I mean, if you look under the desk, he's got all going through the Signum, and then the parts that come out are either going down the leg or they're shooting behind the Alex drawer. And a lot of people are talking about the mouse pad. Yes, it needs to be flattened out. Just a
put a textbook on that.
Yeah, you know, just a fat ass textbook. Lay that down and you'll be all set and ready to go. This is a great example of a simple yet very effective, and just like I said, all the categories, amazing job.
Maybe a new monitor. I mean, I don't know how
bigger is better.
Yeah, bigger is better, but I don't know if he's playing games on that. If he wants like a better hertz, I don't know how that works with the
refresh rate.
Yeah, refresh rate and all that stuff. I don't know if that monitor does the job or not.
Steven scored a 94. The next setup was submitted by Smithers. The case is great. I had that case. I gave it to my dad. Love it. Best placement for it? Not quite, but I think if you were to kind of rearrange, you could still put it there. I mean, it scares me because the Alex drawer is half on the desk, half not. So I don't know. It's just weird. I know it's not the end of the world. It just looks weird, especially with what you're doing with 3 monitors terribly put into the corner.
God, look at that mouse pad.
Yeah, that like
just look at it.
Yeah, that's something. You know, you're gonna have to make a trip back to IKEA if you want to stay with the more affordable things. Then you're gonna have to go for the IKEA Lindman corner desk, which is great. It's really deep, and then you can put the computer on the underside. You could still use the IKEA Alex drawers as one of the sides to it. You could put it off to the right next to the desk and even have the PC there. You put all that time into getting the cables where they need to be fed to and kind of like slightly velcro together. Now tighten it up. If they were tightened up, your cable management would be a great score. Smithers scored a 68. The next setup was submitted by Devon. I get it, you use it for school, so the right side is empty.
I mean, everything's usable, but this is not the most ideal situation. I'd never use the keyboard tray, but the thing is, if you put it on top where your laptop and your monitor is, it just wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand that point, and I guess because you're running off the monitor off the laptop, it's the best situation you're gonna get for now until you get a computer or something like that.
Yeah, because it is like a dual monitor setup.
Yeah.
Except the one monitor has a keyboard attached to it. Yeah. But yeah, it's true. I mean, the desk is not deep enough to really not utilize the keyboard tray. I don't know, maybe if you could get away with just using the single monitor, putting the laptop into the corner side over there, and then at least having a better sort of breathing room, more usability. But if you really need those dual displays, then I guess that's how it works. Devon scored a 72. The next setup was submitted by Emily. If you do some magic looking at this photo and you put your hands up to your screen and you cover everything except the desk setup, it's a pretty good setup. It is not a bad setup. Legos. And it's okay, here's the thing. Easy fix. You buy yourself like a $30 fold out table and you just build on that, and then you have that on each corner or whatever, and you're all good. The other thing is cable management kind of brutally just destroyed your score. You know, a lot of people are saying they need to get she needs to get a new desk, but yeah, I think like the usability part of it is nice, so I don't think the desk needs to be changed. She has enough breathing room. Emily scored a 56. The next setup was submitted by Lois. This is sort of one of those setups where you're kind of working with tight space. I think that's easy to say. Considering his desk space and total utilization, he did a wonderful job. You know, it's cool. He's got 3 photos. What else can he do for personality, guys? Let me know in the chat. I mean, there are things he could do, but is it worth it? You know, the extended mouse pad is not so extended. So I would definitely work on that too. Lois scored an 86. The next setup was submitted by Thinktank. This is super cool. His cable management is top tier, next level, absolutely amazing. This is not the biggest place ever. And I think he made it seem roomy. I don't think it feels like too much. The only part of it that does make it feel like that is the under part of the desk. You know, subwoofer, obviously I understand, but the other two things kind of make it look a little bit more cluttered. It's not necessarily cluttered. It could be somewhere else. The speakers are a bit blocked. You know, that's one thing I would say. To actually get personality into that corner, if you look in this photo and zoom in to the corner, you can see he's got the shelves up. It's a tight spot, doesn't have a lot of room to actually get this done. You know, where are you going to put all your stuff? It's an interesting attempt, and I like it. I think it looks pretty damn good. Really an awesome room. The LEDs are a huge part of this because I feel like without that, it would look pretty bland. So I give him props there for flowing that through the room. Awesome place overall. Thinktank scored a 94. The final setup was submitted by Aidan. I think that the soundproofing was a little weird. I will give him props. So if you go to the next photo, the cable management, great job.
Without a signum, I mean.
Without a signum, yeah. The one thing I would recommend, if you have the cable clips, just take that big portion that's sagging like your mom's bezels and just blah. The other thing is he's using a primary display and a secondary display. The problem with that is it does mess up the speaker placement. Not the end of the world, but it is something I always just kind of nod at, like, you know what I'm saying? Diggity diggity dog. The TV to the side, not a huge fan. I think it kind of defeats the purpose of your whole setup. You are going for sort of like a streamer setup, and like that's the idea of the microphone stuff, but you can't even utilize your computer while playing because you're looking this way and the computer and stuff's over there. Why not put the TV above the freaking the monitors? You know, come up with a better overall placement of things. I just think the soundproofing is not working. Aidan scored an 82. Steven and Thinktank tied for first place. Thanks for watching the Pimp My Setup highlights for episode number 166.